All right, so this video is all about what's going on and what is coming soon here in 2024 to the city of Lake Elsinore, California. So I had a chance to go to a city manager's meeting and hear directly from the city manager from the city of Lake Elsinore, and they laid out their plan here over the next 12 months for the city. So they told us all the new infrastructure coming in, all the new happenings, all the new parks, the off-ramps, the shopping centers, and kind of what their vision is for the city over the next handful of years. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader for the Short Real Estate team here in Temecula, California and Murrieta, California here at Keller Williams. And this video is all about the city of Lake Elsinore, California. So like I mentioned, I went to a city manager's meeting. This is kind of a series of videos, but I heard from all of the city managers for the local cities, and they laid out their plans for their prospective city, over the next 12 months. They talked about all the cool stuff they have going on, all the new stuff that's coming, and kind of what they are working towards, and really what makes their city so great. So hopefully this is good information for you guys. Even for me, as someone I've lived here in the Valley for over 25 years now, I thought it was a lot of really good information. So I'm sure it's something that'll be hopefully helpful for you guys. Yeah, hopefully it's some good info for you. So first thing, before we get into the video, if you are liking real estate videos like this, please do me a favor. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. So we have new videos like this that we put out each and every week, and I have hundreds now that we've uploaded over the last couple of years, but talking about best neighborhoods, worst neighborhoods, where you want to live, where you don't want to live, market updates monthly, etc., new home tours, all types of stuff. So we have new ones that come out each week. You can obviously look through all the old catalog as well, but if you want to stay updated, best way to do that is to subscribe. And then if you guys have any real estate questions, of course, myself and my team, we would love to hear from you. So you can feel free to reach out anytime. You can call, you can text, you can email. I get people that ask questions all the time. Happy to answer any questions you may have, or be a resource. Or of course, myself and my team would love to help you out with your search if that's something that you are looking to get serious about. So like I said, feel free to reach out. Cool. But we'll get into the video here. So again, talking about the city of Lake Elsinore, California, we're going to go kind of the same format as some of these other cities that we talked about. But basically at the beginning of the presentation, the city manager just kind of laid out some interesting stats about the city. So the population for the city of Lake Elsinore is now up to 72,000 people. The median age is only about 30, so that's lower than the other areas that we've talked about. There are 17,000 households. So I think that includes houses, condos, and then like apartments too. So I think that's what households means. And then the average household income for someone that lives in Lake Elsinore is $100,000 for the household. So that's gone up pretty significantly. He actually gave a stat that just 3 years ago, the average household income was only $80,000. So that's a $20,000 jump. That's a big increase in just a few years. And something that they were really happy about is, the city can't control this, right? It's just kind of what's happened over the last 12 months. But last year, so 2023, we had a super, super wet winter. We had a ton of rain. Over the last few months, beginning of 2024, we've had a good amount of rain as well. But with all the water that's come and all the rainfall, the Lake Elsinore, the lake of Lake Elsinore, is as full as it's been in over 28 years. So if you don't know that, as the name would imply, the city of Lake Elsinore has a big, massive lake. It is Lake Elsinore, and that over the years with all the drought, everything, the water levels were dropping pretty significantly. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the lake in general, but the lake used to be, honestly, it was a big eyesore. Honestly, I would say 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was not pretty. It didn't look good, didn't smell good. It had a bad reputation for people that lived in the area. Honestly, it was a butt of a lot of jokes. When I was a kid, people would talk about it a lot. When I was in high school and whatnot, it was not a cool place at all. So the city, over probably the last 10, 12 years has made a big initiative to clean up the Lake Elsinore, to make it more of a destination, and they've done a ton of things, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that. But they've invested a ton of money. They've done an awesome job. One, just getting it clean. Obviously, they're grateful just to have the rainfall to fill up the water table and the water levels. So I know they're happy about that. That just circumstance, right? That's just going to happen with natural weather. But also the creation of Launch Point and revitalizing that whole area. It's a really nice destination. Lake Elsinore has changed so much in the last 10, 12 years. It's much more. It's a lot more of a fun place to be, and the lake is the lake is a big reason why that is. So. And I thought that was a cool stat just about what's going on with the water levels. But we'll get into the rest of it here. All right, so the next portion of the presentation that they talked about was just all about the coming soon development that's going on in the city. So I guess a good thing to start with is the city of Lake Elsinore has grown so much, over the last handful of years. They're really on a major growth pattern. So their projections right now is to add over 30,000 people over the next couple decades. So they're planning to, but that means they're going to build more homes, have more places for people to live in order to take on that population. So, and if you look at just like a map, if you just Google Lake Elsinore, California, and look at like the size of the city, it's a very large city. Like, it's a very vast city. It stretches very far, up north and south on, look along the freeway, along the 15 freeway. It's a large area. Spans east and west. It's a very large city with lots of space for development, and that's one of the reasons that it's growing so much. So part of that growth is right now they have 1,500 housing units that are approved for construction. So it's 1,000 homes, a little over 300 condos, and then a couple hundred apartments. So there's a lot of construction that's currently going on or that is going to be coming on shortly, because those have been approved. Currently, there's 251 homes that are under construction, or units. They're using the word units, so units that are under construction. And they have a lot of commercial developments going on right now as well. So there's 76 commercial projects that are under development. All right, and then they also talked about their climate action plan. So they had kind of some fancy verbiage here about all the ways they're making the high temperatures more viable and easier to deal with for people that lives there. Honestly, to me, it kind of sounds like they're just adding a bunch of trees. They're planting a bunch of trees throughout the city. It's a good thing, right? I don't think anyone is gonna hate on planting trees, but they kind of had some fancy words in there and didn't really seem as advanced as they were making it out to be. But they are trying to do things to add more trees, and they're part of their climate action plan. They do have some construction that's going on from the city, though. So they have a new city hall that they just broke ground on back in December. So that's a massive building that's over 40,000 square feet. On Main Street in Lake Elsinore, they have a new library that's coming. So they have an old library that's been there. It's old, it's small, and from the way they described it, it's like decrepit. Like, the building's falling down, the roof is caving in. So they've approved and have funding for a brand new library that's going to go down there off of Main Street. So which is cool. And something that I think this was more in like the Q&A section after the presentation, but one of the questions was, hey, what are you doing for the homeless population that you have? And because you're located off the freeway, you're getting more homeless people, that are more transient people that are coming through year after year. What are you as a city doing to help with that? So they talked about their homeless solution. So right now they have received about $3.5 million in grant funding. And I think that's per year from, I believe it's mostly from the state, but they have a lot of grant funding that's coming in to help fund a lot of programs. They were able to trace out 175 street exits last year, so in 2023. So those are people that are, they're living on the streets, right? And that they were able to help in their programs into temporary housing and help, get them, make them not homeless, right? So those are good things. They have a 24/7 outreach service so that the city provides. And not only that, they have, I talked about this in my video last year, but they have a really cool, compound where they will beds and housing, basically housing where people that are homeless, they can go and they can live there and stay. There are some rules as far as what therapies have to be done, etc., right? But those beds are constantly filled as well. So there's only going to be so many. I think they have, if I remember correctly, you can look at my last video, but I think it was like 30 beds or so that they have that they're constantly cycling through, and there's ways that they have to help people go from that temporary housing into something that's more permanent, as long as the person that's living there is wanting to participate and do all the right steps. So I thought that's a really cool thing. I heard from probably, I guess, like 6 cities, all 6 of the local cities at this meeting, and I would say Lake Elsinore seems to have the best plan to deal with their homeless situation. So being in Southern California, we are seeing more and more of that, and I honestly was impressed with what they had to say. It seems like they're moving in the right direction. They also talked about the kind of their 5-year vision, right? They talked about their 5-year capital improvement plan. So right now there's 82 projects that are underway, but these are all like infrastructure projects, $647 million total price point, and that includes a special needs sports park that the city is putting in, which will be the first in the area. So I think that's a super cool thing, especially if you have a child or a family member or a friend who's special needs or is autistic or anything like that. I think that's a really cool thing to know, and I'm glad that they are doing that, especially as we personally, as I'm knowing more people that are going through this, they don't have a lot of options. So to have a park that's in place by the city, I think is a really big win. The next thing that they talked about in their presentation was just all about the infrastructure that the city is helping to facilitate. So they have these big budget projects that are currently going on, that are currently under construction. And if you drive through Lake Elsinore, I mean, you're going to see these. If you just drive on the freeway, you'll see them. But they have a $12 million Main Street interchange that's going in. I think it's being revitalized. They have a $3 million street drainage project that's going on. They have a $38 million interchange off of Central Avenue that's being redone. They have a $100 million Franklin Street interchange. I think that's a new exit that they're adding on. And they have a $33 million Summerhill Drive extension. So that's a road expansion and extension. So those are some big budget projects they have going on. From what they're saying is they need that with all the growth and all the building that's going on. They also highlighted a little bit about their Parks and Recs division and all the things that they offer. So they have up to 20 parks now, over 28 acres of parks within the city limits. They have 3 skate parks, and then of course they have Lake Elsinore, which is a 3,000 acre recreational lake. The next thing that they talked about are the city events that the city puts on. And for me, again, I live close by, right? I don't live in Lake Elsinore, but I live in a nearby city. And these are things, honestly, I didn't even know that they did these things. So for me, these are kind of eye-opening. I thought it's kind of cool. Honestly, it's like, hey, you might want to check out a couple of these events. But over the last year, they've had over 74,000 people to their events, so their city-sponsored events. These are free events. They had 37 of them throughout the year last year. They're adding 6 more here in 2024. And then they also have 4 park upgrade projects that are going on. So they're kind of revitalizing the parks. And then one thing, I think a lot of people don't know about this. I've lived here in the area, so I'm very familiar, but if you have not lived here long, or if you're just new to the area, there is, in addition to Lake Elsinore, there is also the Lake Elsinore Storm Stadium. So Lake Elsinore has a minor league baseball team, so it's Storm Baseball. They are a minor league affiliate of the Padres, so we're not far from San Diego. We're 45 minutes, an hour or so from where the Padres play. So their minor league team, one of their minor league teams, plays here in Lake Elsinore. There's a pretty cool little stadium. It's not massive. Honestly, me and my family, we go a lot. We probably go to 6 or 7 games a year. It's cheap, right? It's minor league baseball. The stadium is small, right? It sits less than 5,000 people. but it's cheap to get in. Every seat is a good seat. You can see professional baseball players that are trying to make it to the majors. I think it's a really cool place. But in addition to the actual baseball games they have going on and all the home games, they also do host a lot of events there as well. So they listed out, there's actually 66 home games per year at the Storm Stadium, which is cool. There's 4,835 seats. So they talked a lot about their concert series and stuff that they have going on in the off season. So they have a lot of events that they use the space for. And then they just installed, I think this is within the last year, installed the Diamond Tap Room, so which is a really nice restaurant and tap room, beer tap room, that's there at the stadium that you can check out as well. And as far as some of the events that the city has going on, so they've really branded themselves as like the extreme sport city. So they have the Lake Elsinore Grand Prix that they do every year. They have the SCCA Autocross event. They have the sand drags that they put out. And then also, they talked a little bit about Launch Point. So Launch Point is at the lake. I mentioned it just a little bit before. So at Lake Elsinore, there's Launch Point. It's kind of their hub there. But there's now 205 spaces for RVs. There's a fishing beach. There's restaurants. There's boating rentals, pool, splash pad, and really it's just become much more of a destination for people. It's actually a really cool place to check out. And some of the reason for that is they put into place their lake management plan. So they've done all types of different things to really clean the lake up. I mentioned, they had a really bad reputation before. So they've put in, and this is pretty recent, over the last couple of years, nano bubble treatment systems. They've done a peroxide-based algicide, I think I'm saying that right, and a handful of other things as well. But just as me, I'm like a layman when it comes to lakes, right? I got it's a body of water. But when even just driving by, when you can look out the window, look at the lake. It looks so much better. It's blue, it's clear, it looks nice, and it's not an eyesore like it was. So they've done a really good job cleaning up the area. So anyways, hopefully that's good information for you guys. If you have questions, you can feel free to reach out. Again, you can call, you can text, you can email, and hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.